Hello everyone. Someone happily told me that they had finally found a way to increase the chances of winning the lottery. They believe that because each number in the lottery has an equal probability of being drawn over a long period, these numbers should appear with equal frequency according to the law of large numbers. Therefore, if a number hasn't been drawn for a long time, they think it's time to buy it, as its chances of being drawn are particularly high. Is this idea correct? Today, we will examine this issue. In fact, this idea was proposed a long time ago and is known as the gambler's fallacy. Just by looking at the name gambler's fallacy, we can tell that this notion is incorrect. Let's take a simple example. Suppose there's a gambler playing with dice. A dice has 6 faces. If the outcomes are 1, 2, or 3, it's called small. If the outcomes are 4, 5, or 6, it's called big. They are playing a game of betting on big or small. We know that according to the law of large numbers, as the number of dice rolls approaches infinity, the ratio of big outcomes to total outcomes should equal the ratio of small outcomes to total outcomes, both being 50%. Because for a fair die, the probability of big and small should each be 50%. So the gambler thinks that since there is this rule, he can adopt this strategy. If the first roll results in small, then the probability of the second roll being big increases. Because the first roll was small, he should bet big on the second roll. This notion is incorrect. If the first roll is small, the second roll still has a 50% chance of being big and a 50% chance of being small. If the first 2 rolls are small, the third roll still has a 50% chance of being big and a 50% chance of being small. If the first 3 rolls are all small, the fourth roll still has a 50% chance of being big and a 50% chance of being small. Even if the first 9 rolls are all small, the last roll still has a 50% chance of being big and a 50% chance of being small. Some might say, that's not right. Look, the first 9 rolls were all small, so according to the law of large numbers, it has to even out to 50%, so the last roll is more likely to be big. This is incorrect. Why? Because the law of large numbers has a premise and approaches infinity. You need a very large number of trials to satisfy the law of large numbers. For instance, if you roll the dice 1,000,000 times, you will find that roughly 500,000 times it's big and 500,000 times it's small. But if you only play 10 or 20 times, you can't claim to satisfy the law of large numbers. This is a common fallacy. In life, people have some misconceptions related to this fallacy. A typical example is the lottery. People often recommend buying numbers that have never appeared in history, believing that these numbers are more likely to appear. This is incorrect. Why? Because the number of times the lottery has been drawn is still very limited, far from satisfying the law of large numbers. If the lottery could continue for 1,000,000 years, you would see that all numbers would have an equal probability. Another example is the birth of boys and girls. Suppose a family really wants a boy but ends up having 5 girls in a row. They might think, if we have another child, it must be a boy because we've had 5 girls in a row. This is also incorrect. They've only had 5 children. If they could have 1,000,000 children, roughly half would be boys and half would be girls, satisfying the law of large numbers. If you don't understand the gambler's fallacy, you might adopt very incorrect strategies in gambling, such as the strategy of doubling your bet when you lose. This is a very bad strategy. Let's see what this doubling strategy is. For instance, suppose you are playing dice and you bet on big. You bet $1 on big and roll the dice. If it's big, you win $1 and the game ends. Then you go back and bet $1 on big again. But if it's small, you lose $1. Now, you double your bet to $2 on big. If you win, you not only recover your previous loss but also gain $1. The game then ends, and you start again with $1. If you lose again, you double your bet to $4. If you win, you recover all your losses and gain $1. If you lose again, you double to $8, then to $16, and so on. This strategy seems to ensure a win of $1 each time, but is it really so? Actually, this strategy has many problems. The first issue is the amount of money you need. If you lose 10 times in a row, you will need to bet $512 on the last bet, and you will have lost a total of $1,023. At this point, you might run out of money to continue. The next bet would require $1,024. Even if you can afford that, if your initial bet was $10,000, your final bet would need to be $10,240,000. Do you have that much money? Moreover, casinos usually have a betting limit. For example, if the limit is $10 million, you can't place a bet of $10,240,000. So, people who adopt this strategy often end up bankrupt. Similar methods are used by some in stock trading. They might keep buying more of a falling stock, doubling their investment each time it drops. This often leads to running out of money and deeper losses. So, this is a very poor strategy, and you should never use it. Is there a way to consistently win money from a casino? Historically, some people have managed to do so. One notable case involves a man who successfully won money from a casino, known as the Monte Carlo method. Monte Carlo is not a person but a famous casino located in Monaco, a small, wealthy country next to France, known for its gambling industry. In 1873, a British man named Joseph Jagger wanted to change his life and went to the Monte Carlo casino with all his savings. He noticed a game called roulette. In roulette, there is a wheel with 38 slots, and a ball can land in any of these slots. If you bet on the correct slot, you win a certain amount of money. Jagger knew that the probability of the ball landing in any slot should be 1/38th, but the payout was only 35 to 1. So, on average, players would lose money. Understanding this, he didn't bet immediately. Instead, he hired 6 assistants to observe 6 different roulette wheels for 6 days. He found that while 5 of the wheels had outcomes close to 1/38th for each number, the 6th wheel had several numbers that appeared more frequently. He suspected the wheel was biased and decided to bet on those numbers. He won a significant amount of money until the casino discovered the issue, changed the wheel, and banned him. Today, casino equipment is much more advanced, making it nearly impossible to exploit such biases. However, one entity consistently makes money from gambling: the casino owner. The casino owner can do this because of 2 reasons. First, they design the games with a probabilistic advantage. For example, in roulette, the house edge ensures that on average, players lose money over time. Second, casinos satisfy the law of large numbers. While you might play a few hundred times, the casino runs millions of games, ensuring that over time, the house always wins. So, even if the game was fair, with a 50% chance for you and a 50% chance for the casino, you would still most likely lose all your money over time. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share.